My question is for the Canadian Chamber of Commerce witness, Mr. Pearce. There is uncertainty in a number of sectors in my province due to the tariffs from the United States. Mining, for example. Given that 1/3 of the nickel exports from Newfoundland and Labrador are to the United States, how do you see this bill giving confidence to industries in Newfoundland and Labrador?
Great question. Thank you. So I think the tariffs and the trade environment is what led to the bill. I think the bill gives a framework for us to diversify our markets, to trade with like-minded countries beyond just the United States, which is an opportunity for everyone and for all of our exports. It's unfortunate that we had to wait for something like a U.S. administration to do what they did over the past 6 months to really become attuned to it. But we hear this all the time, that the solution is we'll just trade with Europe. Well, that's an incredible statement. That requires you to have a presence in Europe, to know the customer base, to have sales, to start driving economic activity there. And that's not an overnight thing. And it's hampered by the fact that we don't necessarily have the infrastructure to get our products, our resources to market in the first place, to fill those orders. And so I think there's a great opportunity with this bill to do that. It's not the first, it's not the last step. This really is the first step in I hope, the Canadian Chamber hopes, a methodical review of how the government looks at resource investments and infrastructure. And one other example, we've talked about the greenwashing provisions. There are many other regulations that come to mind. Just the very concept of regulations being used to where there's ambiguity in how those processes are set up. As part of a proper regulatory process, you have to outline the cost benefit of that regulation. What's the impact on industry? And how the government comes to the numbers that inform that cost benefit analysis can sink or swim the regulation. But there's no clarity on how that process comes together. And so what that does is, again, it makes the business sector stand back and maybe reevaluate those investments. And those are pretty big investments that are on the table. So.